what are some practices we can do to not judge others? So one day, this was several years ago, I was watching a YouTube video by a spiritual teacher called Sadhguru. And at one point he said this thing, I will never forget. He said, "You have no choice. You must fall in love with everyone." And I was like, who, what now? I've got to fall in love with everyone? I can hardly even manage to like everyone, let alone fall in love with them. But something in that command, you must fall in love with everyone. I realized that when I am struggling to not judge someone, if I'm struggling to feel like I have to like someone, what I'm in essence doing is my personality, my preferences, opinions, all the things that I think make up me, but they really just make up my personality part of myself, that I'm trying to make that personality like all other personalities who are a lot of times in direct conflict, or at least not exactly complementary to my own. And it doesn't work. So what I sought to start experiencing, if I'm going to be a place of non-judgment in the world and really express this idea of what would it be like to love all people, it takes me to the scripture and the Christian scriptures where Jesus says that we can love our neighbors as ourselves. This is actually the great commandment, to love our neighbors as ourselves. But what he says right before that, he says you must love the Lord your God with all your strength, all your soul, all your mind, all your heart. Well, here we go. Because if we can love, not force our personalities to like other personalities, but to love the way the divine loves, to see the way the divine sees, that all creatures, all human beings are expressions of that one life. So we are interconnected in that way. Then I can begin to say, okay, it's not about my personality, but what am I at the core of my being? And what I am is love. So is it an effort to love people? Well, maybe sometimes it still is. But my job is not to love all their actions. My job is not to love all their opinions. It is to see when they are acting in ways that I perhaps have judgments about, to know them as God knows them, which is a creation of the divine who is acting out of some type of thought of separation. And it's an error thought. The only way that we can act in negative ways to each other is if we are believing that we are separate from one another. So it all comes back to knowing our oneness.